The Young and the Restless preview, Thursday, February 26th, 2026. I think Thursday's episode of The Young and the Restless is going to turn up the tension in Genoa City big time. Devon and Nate are both fiercely loyal to Lily, and I was wondering just how far they'll go when they confront Victor about her whereabouts. Victor Newman isn't exactly known for playing fair, and using Lily as a pawn against Kane? That's a move they're not going to ignore. To me, Devon and Nate have every reason to push back. Kane may have lost the leverage to reclaim Newman Enterprises, but Devon isn't exactly broke either. His financial resources could easily be the key to freeing Lily from Victor's manipulations, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's already plotting just that. Meanwhile, Kane's story gets even messier. He left a voice message for Phyllis, forgiving her for seizing control of the AI program and taking over Newman Enterprises, Chancellor Industries, and Newman Media. Now, I'm not sure if Kane's apology is heartfelt or just a clever ruse to lull Phyllis into a false sense of security. On Thursday, we'll see him make a confession to her, and honestly, I wouldn't put it past him to bend the truth to get what he wants. Kane loves Lily, and with Victor breathing down his neck to regain control of the company, deception seems inevitable. And then there's Noah. I didn't realize just how on edge he would be until Matt Clark slipped through the legal cracks and was released on a technicality. Naturally, Noah is going to be more than a little worried about Sienna's safety, and I have a feeling that anxiety is going to dominate his scenes on Thursday. All in all, Thursday's episode promises a whirlwind of loyalty, deception, and high-stakes drama. I'm excited to see how each character's moves will ripple across Genoa City, and I think viewers are in for a few shocking twists. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the week of March 2 to 6, promise a roller coaster of drama, and honestly, things are heating up faster than a Spectra runway show. Matt Clark is about to remind everyone why he's one of the most dangerous players in Genoa City, while Nick Newman makes it crystal clear he's not letting Matt slide this time. And if that's not enough, Sally Spectra is in for a last-minute rescue that could change her life yet again. Audra Charles steps up big this week, swooping in to save Sally from a potentially disastrous move. I think Audra must feel pretty proud seeing their Spectra-Charles alliance still going strong, especially after preventing what could have been a massive blunder. To me, it looks like she's also keeping a watchful eye on Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman, maybe sensing some kind of trap before it's too late. If Audra spots the danger in time, Sally will have every reason to be grateful, and their business partnership could get a fresh start. There's also a chance that Audra will intervene in Sally's personal life, particularly when it comes to Billy Abbott. If Sally leans toward rekindling that romance, Audra might just step in to save her from another heartbreak. Either way, by the end of the week, Sally's world should be back on track, thanks to Audra's timely interventions, and it seems like they're poised for a new, exciting chapter together. Meanwhile, on the more perilous side of Genoa City, Nick Newman is doubling down on his vow to take Matt down for good. Matt's history of chaos has finally pushed Nick to the edge, and he's determined to end this once and for all. But naturally, things won't go smoothly. Even with Victoria Newman pitching in on Nick's plan, Matt is his usual twisted, unpredictable self. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws multiple curveballs to keep Nick and Sharon off balance. Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall are caught in the crossfire, clinging to each other as Matt continues to play his sinister games. Expect ominous messages and tense standoffs as they try to anticipate Matt's next move. Then there's Claire Newman, who's at a crossroads after dumping Holden Novak over withheld Los Angeles intel. I'm wondering if she might turn to Kyle Abbott, hoping he's still on board for teaming up against Audra. One thing's for sure, Claire is willing to go to great lengths to expose Audra's LA secrets, and the week ahead could bring some shocking revelations. All in all, the week of March 2 to 6 on The Young and the Restless looks like it will be packed with suspense, schemes, and a few last-minute rescues that keep viewers on the edge of their seats. Young and Restless, Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I was watching today's episode of The Young and the Restless, and wow, it feels like every scene was charged with tension. Victor is once again in full protector of the family mode. Nick and Sharon are scheming against Matt Clark, and Devon is finally calling Kane out for his actions. To me, it feels like everyone's on edge, and you can practically see the dominoes lined up, ready to fall. Sienna and Noah, a sweet reunion with a twist. The episode opened with a surprisingly tender moment. Sienna showing up at the Chancellor Park Cafe to surprise Noah. They kiss, and it's clear how much they've missed each other. I was thinking, it's such a small gesture, her remembering to wear warm clothes, but it says so much about their connection. She even packed summer clothes, hinting that LA is truly her past. To me, that line screamed, "I belong here, with you," though there's that inevitable nagging question, will his family accept her? Noah seems confident that things have changed and that they'll be fine, but I didn't fully buy it yet. The mood shifts fast when Noah gets a text from an unknown number. It's a riddle, which is always ominous. Then Burrow calls, and the texts get threatening. Someone saying Noah will end up in hell. My first thought was, classic Matt Clark. Sure enough, Sienna confirms it. Matt's free, and definitely not done. That moment had me holding my breath. You can feel the storm rolling in, the Newman Ranch, tension rising. Meanwhile, at the Newman Ranch, Nick confronts Victor about how Matt could have been freed. Victor, ever calm, says Matt has already vanished, but Nick is unconvinced. He points out that Matt could be anywhere, including right under their noses. Victor tries to reassure him, but Nick's frustration is palpable. "I've heard that one before." I was thinking, yep, Nick's not the only one who's nervous here. Nick's pain really hits when he yells that this is a nightmare. Nikki steps in, worried that Nick is carrying this burden alone, and points out that his pills aren't helping. Victor promises to handle Matt, but Nikki's instincts tell her that patience might be key, especially with their daughter planning to involve Summer. Victor, of course, thinks it's a bad idea, but Nikki sticks to her guns. There's this tug-of-war between urgency and strategy, and it keeps the tension at a boiling point. Sharon and Phyllis, old wounds, new arguments. Over at Crimson Lights, Sharon confronts Phyllis. I was struck by how unrepentant Phyllis is. She's happy with her choices and unapologetic. Sharon, of course, can't believe the audacity, especially since Phyllis keeps using her family as an excuse. There's this weird, uncomfortable symmetry in their argument. Phyllis thinks everyone will forgive her eventually, citing Daniel forgiving Sharon as an example. I didn't realize just how much Sharon's patience would be tested until she admits, almost to herself, that rage is something she and Phyllis actually share. What really hit me was Sharon affirming that their bond is still real despite everything. In the middle of chaos, betrayal, and threats, there's still this tiny thread of friendship, and maybe that's what keeps both women tethered to each other. Final thoughts. I think today's episode was a perfect storm of tension, emotion, and character dynamics. Between Matt on the loose, Noah and Sienna's reunion, and the Newman family navigating crisis, it feels like we're on the edge of a major shakeup. And honestly, I can't wait to see which domino falls first. I think Phyllis really knows she messed up, but it's fascinating how defensive she still gets. She calls out Sharon for using therapy talk to manipulate her, classic Phyllis, and admits that sometimes she hates that they became friends. Honestly, life was simpler when she just hated her. Now, Sharon's presence is just irritating. Sharon, of course, leans into that, pointing out how much they're alike and that they want the same things. You can see the tension there. It's like a mirror Phyllis doesn't want to look into. Then Nick stumbles in, and suddenly Phyllis is under siege. She accuses them of teaming up against her and makes it clear she's not giving up Newman without a fight. "Kiss my ring or get out of the way," she practically says, and you can almost hear the soap opera horns blaring. Nick fires back with pure intimidation, promising to crush her and claiming nothing she does will survive. Once Phyllis leaves, Sharon tries to reassure herself that progress was being made before Nick barged in. Nick, of course, doesn't buy it. But here's the thing. Sharon notices the pain he's carrying. And that pain? It's huge because Matt is back. Nick's anger immediately pivots. "I'm gonna put his ass in the ground." And just like that, Matt becomes the new target. Meanwhile, on his train, Kane calls Amanda but doesn't get through. His mind flashes back to Victor demanding he reclaim his company if he ever wants to see Lily and the twins again. High stakes all the time. Devon shows up, frustrated and panicked. No one can find his sister and the kids. Kane is honestly in the dark but assumes they're okay. Devon's not satisfied. He's desperate for answers. Kane tries to calm him, explaining that revealing anything could put them in danger. Devon's response? Classic soap fury. If anything happens to my family, I will rain hell on you. Then he storms out. Amanda finally calls back, and Kane admits the impossible. Newman is out of reach, but he's still hustling and asks her to keep pushing their other plan. Then Phyllis shows up. Kane asks if she got his messages. She's incredulous. After everything she did, he still wants to hook up? Kane calmly says he admires her, understands her, and isn't angry. It's weirdly heartfelt. Phyllis drops the Victor bomb. He was bluffing. She questions why Devon was there. Does that mean Victor still has Lily? Then she flips the script, accusing Kane of trying to get her into bed just to turn the tables. Kane shoots back that she's the only one who can turn things around for him. She refuses, trying to leave. But the door is barred. And just like that, we're left with a perfect mix of tension, danger, and simmering attraction. Classic soap. Messy, emotional, and completely addictive. I was thinking about Thursday's episode of The Young and the Restless, and wow! Victor Newman is really going to be in the hot seat. I mean, what he's done with Lily Winters and the twins. Yeah, that's going to blow up in his face. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman is about to hit full-on panic mode once she gets some troubling news. I didn't realize just how tense things were about to get until I dug into the spoilers. So here's the scene. Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall head to Crimson Lights for a chat with Sharon and Nick Newman. Nick and Sharon are all set to break the news about Matt Clark's release, only to find out Sienna and Noah are already ahead of them. Classic! Then things get messy. Noah shows the creepy text messages he's been getting from an unknown number. Matt is already reaching out with a revenge threat. Sharon freaks, as expected, worried for both Noah and Sienna, while Noah is laser-focused on keeping Sienna safe. I think he's really stepping up as the protective type here. Detective James Burrow will pop in too, trying to make sense of all this Matt drama. But Nick? Yeah, Nick is not waiting for the law. He wants to handle Matt himself. Typical Newman determination. Meanwhile, Devon Winters catches Nate Hastings up on his showdown with Kane Ashby, confirming that Lily's been taken along with the twins. Devon and Nate might immediately suspect Victor. It just feels like his move to gain leverage on Kane, even if it's a total low blow. They'll keep things vague when telling Abby Newman about a lead on Lily, probably not wanting to stress her out given the recent Dominic Winters situation. But don't worry, Devon and Nate won't let Victor off the hook. He's about to get ambushed with some serious questions about Lily. I'm curious if Victor's promises about Lily's safety will be enough to convince them, or if they'll see right through him. And then there's Kane. He's on edge and confesses to Phyllis Summers while a guard keeps her from leaving. Kane's basically saying, "I'll do whatever it takes to get Newman Enterprises back in Victor's hands and keep my family safe." He's clearly dangerous, but Phyllis? She's not backing down. I love that about her. She refuses to be intimidated. Bottom line, there's another explosive Phyllis versus Kane showdown coming, and I can't wait to see it. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be Victor, Kane, or anyone in this tangled web right now. Things are about to get messy, intense, and oh so juicy. I've been thinking about what's coming up for Adam Newman on The Young and the Restless, and I can't help but wonder if he's in for some shocking news that could really shake things up. Could a life-changing revelation disrupt his world and create new obstacles in his relationship with Chelsea Lawson? Right now, Adam and Chelsea seem to have found some solid ground. But Chelsea's hesitation about tying the knot again feels real. She's clearly worried about jinxing the happiness she's finally found with Adam. To me, it's one of those classic soap opera moments. Just when things are good, trouble is lurking around the corner. And trouble is exactly what Y&R thrives on. No couple ever stays too long in a perfect place. so it feels inevitable that Adam and Chelsea will face another hurdle sooner rather than later. The latest spoilers hint at an upcoming trip that Adam and Nick Newman will take, apparently to Las Vegas. From behind-the-scenes hints in the new sets, it looks like Matt Clark might be part of the story there. But what's really interesting is how this trip could connect Adam's present to his past. I was wondering, what if Adam reaches out to some old Vegas connections for help? Before returning to Genoa City in 2019, Adam had a whole life there as Spider. Revisiting that world could bring him face-to-face with some surprises, maybe even an old flame showing up during the Vegas drama. That alone could spark tension with Chelsea, especially if she starts feeling insecure about someone gorgeous from Adam's past re-entering the picture. And then there's the possibility no one can ignore. Could Adam have a secret child he doesn't even know about? When he left his spider life behind, maybe he unknowingly walked away from a son or daughter. That would completely throw him for a loop. Connor might have a half-brother or half-sister out there, depending on where the show wants to take all this Vegas action. What starts as a trip to confront Matt could end up turning into something much bigger for Adam. Maybe a problematic ex, a surprise child, or both. The Young and the Restless seems to be setting up some curveballs for Adam on this journey, and I have a feeling it's going to get messy, but in the best, most dramatic way. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, February 26th, are absolutely jam-packed with tension. Devon and Nate are on a mission. They demand Victor finally tell them where Lily is, and more importantly, whether she's really there of her own free will. To me, it feels like the first real challenge to Victor's control in a while. Victor, of course, is playing the perfect host, or at least pretending to. He assures Nikki, Victoria, Nicholas, Adam, and Chelsea that Lily and the twins are peachy keen and more than happy to do whatever Newman Enterprises needs. In Victor's eyes, it's just the natural order of things. After all, he's done so much for them. But Devon and Nate? Not so easily convinced. And you can almost see Victor stewing. How dare they question him? How dare they not fall in line like everyone else? I'm almost waiting for the storm he's clearly plotting, and I have a feeling it's coming. Meanwhile, the chaos around Kane, Phyllis, and Victor continues to spiral. Phyllis swiped Kane's computer program and handed it over to Victor, thinking she was helping. But oops, Victor used it to crush Kane instead. Phyllis protests, claiming that wasn't her intention, but Kane has a trick of his own, a poison pill hidden in the program, ready to take down Victor. And Phyllis? She's thrilled. Let's do it! But of course, Victor still holds the ultimate leverage, Lily and the kids. Kane nearly folds under the pressure, ready to return everything to the mustache. That's when Phyllis steps in, drugs Kane, and walks away with Newman Enterprises in her pocket. She thinks she's won. But here's the thing. We've seen this movie before. Victor thought he had the upper hand, only for Kane to reveal a double cross. Could we be heading into a triple cross now? Honestly, it's the kind of twist that makes me want to rewind and check every glance, every pause, every word. Because in Genoa City, nobody ever truly wins. And then there's Matt, freshly released from prison. Nick and Sharon are on edge, as you'd expect. But so is Noah. Only his concern isn't for Matt, it's for Sienna. Suddenly, I'm wondering if Nick and Sharon have been worrying about the wrong person all along. In this city, even family dynamics come with a plot twist or two. The spoiler photos for the Wednesday, February 25th, 26th episode of The Young and the Restless are all about the Newman clan. Noah and Sienna appear together in the shots, so it looks like a reunion is finally happening. I was wondering if this means Noah is finally enjoying some happiness after Monday's episode, where he had to defend his family against Audra and Kyle. From what I see in the photos, Noah and Sienna are looking cozy, so maybe they've worked things out and decided to give their relationship another shot. To me, it seems like a moment of calm in the usually stormy Newman household. But while Noah and Sienna reconnect, the rest of the Newmans aren't exactly sailing smooth waters. Two of the weekly teasers suggest trouble is brewing, but not necessarily from the same source. First, Victor is on a mission to neutralize a threat to the family. Second, Nick and Sharon are plotting to turn the tables on Matt Clark. I think the threat Victor is handling could very well be Phyllis. That might explain why he's been laying low lately. But if it's not Phyllis, could it be Matt Clark? The weekly preview shows Victor resurfacing to warn Nick, Nikki, and the rest of the family that their longtime enemy has been released from police custody. And now he's disappeared. And honestly, how does someone like Matt Clark even get out on bail? He's clearly a flight risk. No wonder Nick and Sharon immediately shift into action mode. I have a feeling this showdown could get intense, and the Newmans will need all the backup they can muster. Abby and Devon's world has been completely turned upside down on the young and the restless. The recent kidnapping of their son, Dominic, by Mariah, shook the couple to their core. And now, a threat even bigger is looming: Abby's father, Victor. For Abby and Devon, Dominic's kidnapping was every parent's worst nightmare. As Mariah disappeared with their son, the couple were on edge, desperate to bring him back. Thanks to Detective Burrow, Mariah was caught before she and Dominic could cross into Mexico, reuniting the family, at least physically. But just because Dominic is home doesn't mean the danger is over. Mariah remains out on bail until her trial, and Abby can't shake the feeling that she still poses a threat. Even though Mariah has shown some remorse, Abby isn't buying it, and she's determined to do whatever it takes to protect Dominic. While Abby wrestles with this fear, Devon faces another family crisis. He's growing increasingly concerned about his sister Lily, who hasn't been in touch. Sensing that something is off, he and Nate start looking into her disappearance. What Abby and Devon don't yet realize is that the person behind Lily's disappearance is none other than Abby's own father, Victor. In classic Newman fashion, Victor is orchestrating this as part of his plan to reclaim Newman from Kane. While he's assured Nikki that Lily is on board, the truth about her whereabouts has been kept secret. It's only a matter of time before the truth comes out, and when it does, Abby and Devon's marriage will face its ultimate test. Devon is bound to be furious when he learns Victor was behind Lily's kidnapping. His instinct will be to protect his family, even if that means cutting ties with Victor entirely. Abby, however, won't be so quick to agree. True to her Newman roots, she'll defend her father's choices, insisting that Victor is a good man who deserves a second chance. But Devon won't see it that way. Victor crossed a line, using Lily as a pawn in his game, while their son, Dominic, was still missing. From Devon's perspective, it's unforgivable. And honestly, when you consider Abby's determination to keep Mariah away from their family, Devon's stance against Victor makes perfect sense. With Abby and Devon on opposing sides about what's best for their family, their marriage is facing serious turbulence. The question now is, can their love survive the shadow of Victor Newman? Or is Dabby headed for Splitsville? The corporate battlefield on the young and the restless is heating up, and Sally is making it clear she's not here to be anyone's pawn. After the latest Newman Chancellor shakeup, she's drawn a line in the sand. Loyalty matters more than fear of the mustache. And as expected, fans are buzzing over what this bold move could mean for her future. Viewers have been weighing in on Sally's refusal to hand over the keys to Newman Media. She didn't mince words with Chelsea. She's done being a pawn in the Newman family game. To Sally, how this looks to Victor Newman is irrelevant. She's not backing down, and she's not apologizing for it. So, is Sally finally stepping into the powerhouse role fans have been waiting for? Or did she just sign her corporate death warrant? After all, Victor doesn't exactly flinch at morally questionable schemes. He's already considered a kidnapping plot involving Kane's ex, Lily, and their kids without blinking. The debate is raging on X, formerly Twitter. Some fans cheer Sally on, rooting for her to finally break the Newman cycle. Others argue she's holding on to a company she doesn't even want, so why not just hand it back and be done with it? Remember, Billy handed Newman Media to Sally on Valentine's Day as part of his deal with Phyllis. She may want nothing to do with NM, but that doesn't automatically mean she has to give it back to the Newmans. Many fans feel she's fully within her rights to keep it. One viewer summed it up: Sally has zero obligation to return NM to the Newmans. It was Billy and Phyllis's decision to give it to her. Even if she could, why should she? That family has constantly been gunning for her company. She doesn't owe them a thing. Another countered, sure, she doesn't owe them anything, But maybe returning NM would finally close the chapter on the Newmans and on Billy. And then there's the strategic angle. Sally just renamed the company without Billy's say-so. Jill is backing her, so technically she owns it. Jill could split off NM, hand it to Adam, and tell Sally they're starting a new venture called Spectra Charles. Let Abbott.com die a slow death. So where does that leave us? Is Sally free to chart her own course with Newman Media, or should she cut ties and return it to the family that keeps chasing her? One thing's for sure, whatever she decides, the fallout is going to be explosive. Kyle and Audra's love-hate dynamic on The Young and the Restless has taken a turn that I didn't see coming. After months of scheming, rivalry, and downright feuding, it looks like the former enemies might actually be heading toward romance, thanks to one unexpected kiss. Honestly, to me, it feels like the chemistry between them was always there, simmering under all the chaos, and now it's finally bubbling to the surface. Fans of Kaudra are thrilled, and I can see why. They might just be the show's next it couple. From the start of their affair, it was clear that Kyle and Audra had sparks flying between them. Even when their relationship didn't work out, even while they were at each other's throats, that pull never really went away. Their rivalry has been intense. Audra has successfully driven a wedge between Kyle and Claire, but her schemes ultimately cost her relationship with Nate. Yet, despite all the backstabbing and barbs, neither of them can resist gloating at the other's misfortunes whenever they cross paths. Take the recent Valentine's Day gathering at Society, for example. They were trading snide remarks like usual, and then, bam! Kyle kisses Audra. That moment felt like the culmination of everything. The perfect enemies to lovers beat that the show has been teasing for months. I didn't expect it, but in hindsight, it makes sense. For fans, the possibility of a Kaudra romance is electrifying. Some are even daring to dream that Kyle and Audra could follow in the footsteps of the legendary Victor and Nikki. I'm not saying they're at that level yet, but if the writers play it right, the potential is definitely there. One Reddit poster summed it up perfectly. I want Kyle and Audra to rise up and become the new Victor and Nikki. They're both hot, they have chemistry, and they are ruthless. They'll stop at nothing to get what they want. There's a lot of excitement around the idea. Viewers are imagining Kyle marrying Audra, making her an Abbott, and really shaking things up in Genoa City. While Victor and Nikki will always be Y&R's top super couple, Kyle and Audra could carve out their own space. And honestly, I think they deserve a shot. What makes them compelling to me is that there's still so much tension and drama to explore. Kyle's family, especially his mother Diane, is far from on board. Diane's disapproval alone could fuel some incredible Abbott family conflict. Then there's Claire, whose snooping in LA could reveal Audra's secrets at any moment. With her life teetering on the edge and the threat of jail looming, Kyle might end up stepping in as her savior. And in that moment, I can see them solidifying their status as the next Y&R super couple. For me, the thrill of Kaudra isn't just about a romance. It's about watching two powerful, flawed characters collide, scheme, fight, and maybe, just maybe, fall in love along the way. I didn't realize how invested I'd get, but here I am, waiting to see what comes next. I've been thinking about The Young and the Restless lately, and it looks like Claire Newman is not backing down anytime soon. She's dead set on uncovering exactly what went down with Audra Charles in Los Angeles. But so far, Holden Novak hasn't been much help. Honestly, I can see why she finally decided they shouldn't see each other anymore. Holden isn't being completely upfront, and that kind of secrecy can only last for so long. Now, there's a chance Holden might crack eventually, but knowing soap operas, Claire could end up having to take matters into her own hands. She's completely fixated on this missing art dealer and seems convinced that something tragic happened. The tricky part? Getting the proof that ties Audra directly to it. Holden, of course, complicates things even more. He accidentally delivered the fatal blow to the art dealer while trying to protect Audra, and he's been doing everything he can to keep that under wraps. Talk about dramatic tension. It really feels like Y&R is setting us up for a big twist because Claire isn't exactly the type to let a mystery go unsolved. I was wondering, what if Claire decides to revisit her old alliance with Kyle Abbott? Imagine her convincing Kyle to seduce Audra just to extract the full story. That would be such a wild move, especially given their history. Kyle and Audra's fake seduction drama is exactly what caused friction between him and Claire in the first place. If you remember, Kyle tested the limits of his relationship with Claire by making out with Audra and kind of playing along with her plan in Nice. Since Audra was trying to seduce him for Victor Newman, Kyle basically seduced her right back, creating a messy little game of manipulation on both sides. But deep down, there's still a spark between Kyle and Audra. I think their recent conversation with Noah Newman showed that they can actually find some common ground, especially since they both think Victor deserves what's coming to him. That dynamic could give Kyle the perfect opportunity to grow closer to Audra naturally, without raising too many red flags. Fans will remember that kiss at Society, not that long ago, where Kyle teased Audra with something she could never have. I can't help but wonder if he might eventually make her think she could have it after all. So, if Claire does pitch one last seduction scheme, it'll be fascinating to see Kyle's reaction. Could he manipulate Audra into revealing her secrets while navigating his own complicated feelings? Whatever happens, one thing's clear. Claire will stop at nothing to uncover the truth that Holden and Audra are desperate to keep hidden. I was thinking about The Young and the Restless, and Dominic Newman Abbott Winters Chancellor's latest ordeal really has me wondering, could this little guy get kidnapped again? I mean, he just survived one harrowing experience, but somehow, it feels like the danger isn't over yet. Naturally, everyone will be quick to point fingers at Mariah Copeland. But what if she's actually not the one behind it this time? Let's start with Mariah. She was arrested after being caught with Dominic, and honestly, even she isn't totally sure why she took him in the first place. Fans know Ian Ward has been showing up in her mind, whispering instructions and manipulating her decisions. There's this constant tug-of-war inside her. Part of her knows she did something wrong and is drowning in guilt, while another part truly believes Dominic belongs with her as part of Ian's twisted game. Now Mariah is facing trial and has pleaded not guilty. Christine Blair is laying down some strict rules for her, including no visits to the Chancellor Mansion. And that's bound to be frustrating, because Devon and Abby Winters weren't exactly thrilled when Sharon Newman showed up with Mariah. The young woman was trying to apologize, but it only made things more tense. Then, of course, Abby and Christine set some very firm boundaries when they ran into Mariah out in public. Here's the kicker. Dominic might actually be in danger again. Matt Clark is back on the loose. He was released from prison and immediately disappeared, which is never a good sign. Naturally, Devon and Abby are going to assume Mariah is involved. But at this point, Mariah is focused on her trial. I honestly don't think she's going to be the one to kidnap Dominic again. If anyone's likely to do it, it's probably Matt. He's got a vendetta against the entire Newman family. And while he can't reach the other Newmans easily, Dominic could be an easier target. Once Dominic goes missing, Mariah might feel compelled to help search for him, but Christine and Sharon will almost certainly warn her to stay away. And yet, given her history of running into Abby and Dominic, it wouldn't be surprising if Mariah ends up in hot water again. Here's what I find really interesting. Mariah is desperate for redemption. Could she end up putting herself in danger to save Dominic? Could she even channel Ian Ward in some way, but for good this time? To make it happen? To me, that feels like the perfect twist, using her hallucinations as a force for good, while also giving Devon and Abby a reason to forgive her. Personally, I think this storyline has so much potential. It could give Mariah a heroic arc she desperately needs, while keeping the suspense high. And let's be honest, watching her navigate guilt, manipulation, and the chance for redemption, that's classic Young and the Restless drama at its finest. I've been thinking a lot about the latest twists on The Young and the Restless, and one possibility that really excites me is the idea of Phyllis Summers and Matt Clark teaming up against the Newman family. Both of them have major scores to settle, and to me, the chemistry between their vendettas could make for some serious drama. Phyllis has always had a rocky history with Victor Newman, but things have really escalated lately. She stole Kane Ashby's AI program and cut a deal with Victor. hand it over, and she'd get Jabot in return. But, as these things go in Genoa City, Victor went off the rails with the AI, ultimately double-crossing Phyllis. And then the twist, predictably unpredictable, was that the AI turned on Victor, causing him to lose control of Newman Enterprises. Now, I'm wondering if Phyllis might take it a step further, possibly cutting Kane out of their partnership when he tried to return the company to Victor. Could this leave her as the sole owner of Newman Enterprises? It's tempting to think so, but I can't shake the feeling that Victor, ever confident, isn't gone for good. His quiet exit has that signature, "I'm still in control" energy. And I suspect it's only a matter of time before Newman Enterprises is back in his hands. If that happens, Phyllis is going to be absolutely livid. And trust me, revenge will be on her mind. Enter Matt Clark. Viewers saw him released from jail on February 24th, thanks to compromised evidence, and now he's back on the streets. Matt, like Phyllis, has his own scores to settle. He's got grudges against Nick and Sharon Newman, and Victor's interference has only added fuel to the fire. Phyllis, on the other hand, is still smarting over Nick's influence on their daughter, Summer. And she definitely hasn't forgiven Sharon for quickly hopping on the Hatch Team Newman bandwagon. If Phyllis and Matt cross paths, I can see a dangerous alliance forming, one where nothing and no one is off limits. So what would their partnership look like? With Matt's business savvy and Phyllis's knack for manipulation, it could range from corporate sabotage to psychological warfare, targeting the Newmans' personal lives just as aggressively as their company empire. To me, the idea of these two masterminds scheming together is irresistible. If they do team up, the Newmans might finally face a threat that shakes both their boardroom and their family dinners. One thing's for sure, in Genoa City, chaos is only ever a partnership, or a vendetta, away. When it comes to Nikki Newman, I have to say, she's really starting to get on everyone's last nerve lately, and it's not just because she acts like she's always right. Honestly, it's more about that smug little smirk she wears, like the rules only apply to everyone else, but never her own family. Take one of the most recent episodes of The Young and the Restless. Nikki strolls into Chancellor and immediately starts berating Billy, which is a bit rich, considering she literally took his seat and packed up his things just a few months ago. I mean, does she even remember her own actions? Because from where I'm sitting, Nikki seems to have zero hindsight. She condones whatever Victor does and somehow manages to throw a pity party for Jack, who, of course, just melts every single time. To me, it feels like Nikki is desperately in need of a reality check. I can't help but wonder, would Catherine Chancellor even respect her right now? I highly doubt it. And of course, social media has had a field day. Fans are calling out the Newmans for their hypocrisy. One comment that really stuck with me said, "All of the Newmans act as if nobody should ever treat them the way that they treat everyone else." Another fan hit the nail on the head about Victoria, writing, "They are such hypocrites in this story. Her dad's done some pretty shady things, but heaven forbid anyone does the same to the Newmans. Shut up and sit down already." Then there's the classic sentiment I can't help but agree with. I am past tired of the Newmans. They could always dish it out but never take it. They deserve everything they get. And someone else added, "She's been on my nerves for a while. The uppityness of her character really grates on me. I just want Billy to be happy for once." So yeah, Nikki Newman might just be the Newman everyone loves to hate right now. But that's the photo of The Young and the Restless. You never know what kind of chaos one character can stir up next. And, of course, we'll just have to keep tuning in every day to see how it all unfolds. The Young and the Restless airs weekdays on CBS, so grab your popcorn. I've been thinking about the latest twists on The Young and the Restless, and it seems like Nick Newman might be heading down a really dangerous path. Addiction is creeping into his life, and he's desperately trying to keep it a secret. But that's not even the half of it. Nick is also staring down the possible collapse of the Newman family empire, all while Matt Clark is still out there, a ticking time bomb. It makes me wonder, could Nick, the good guy, actually end up making a deal with the devil? And if he does, is there any coming back from that? To me, that tension is where the story gets really interesting. Right now, the Newman family is in chaos. Victor Newman has somehow managed to lose not just one company, but the whole empire. So his focus is laser sharp on reclaiming Newman Enterprises. But the threats aren't just corporate. Matt is still at large, and Nick's growing dependency on fentanyl is a ticking time bomb that nobody in the family has noticed yet. And it's not just the Newmans under pressure. Mariah Copeland's trial is looming, and Victor's actions toward Lily Winters, Charlie Ashby, and Maddie Ashby have left more fallout than anyone can keep track of. Nick's situation got worse recently when he ran out of his prescription pain meds. He ended up at the coffee house, but this time he had one of the fentanyl pills he got from Matt tucked in his jacket. Those pills were supposed to help Schick find Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall, but honestly, who knows what's actually in them? They could be tainted, and that's terrifying. Victoria Newman has already tried warning Nick about the pills, but he brushed her off. As the week goes on, though, I can't help but feel both Victoria and Sharon are going to start noticing that Nick is acting different. And when I say different, I mean disturbingly off. Sharon's already picked up on some of Nick's odd behavior, even if she doesn't realize he's battling an addiction. She mentioned her concerns to Noah, but with her focus on Mariah Copeland right now, she might be missing some key clues. At the heart of it, Nick is caught between two impossible choices. On one side, he wants to stop Matt from terrorizing the Newman family. On the other, he's sinking deeper into fentanyl dependency. I almost feel like when Nick finally confronts Matt, there's going to be this moment where he has to decide, does he do whatever Matt wants to feed his addiction, or does he try to fight back at all costs? And if Nick does give in, even just a little, I wonder, can he ever forgive himself for helping the very person who's been threatening everything he loves? It's such a dark, tangled web, and honestly, I can't wait to see how it unfolds.